So, what does all this mean for us? To discuss today's latest inflation figures and the impact on the economy, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by an economist and the managing director of financial derivatives company, Mr. Bismarck Rewane. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good evening, Joma.
And what's a day to have you in the chair when it's a day of figures?
Yes.
All right,
good news.
Yeah. Oh, really? Quite a drop we see. I mean, first time in about a year.
Expected.
So what's happening?
Basically, this is a period when we are having good news. We had the Eurobond, 1 billion naira oversubscribed. We had oil production up to 2 million barrels a day. We have oil price 100% higher than what it was last year. That's on the fiscal side. We had a launching of the economic recovery and growth plan. Now on the monetary side, where we've been having problems all along, now the good news is that the central bank has been able to increase the reserves to above $30 billion, been able to get the currency to appreciate all the way to 457, has been able to bring inflation. Inflation is the main target of the central bank. After 15 months of increases, we've now begun to see a decline. Why is this happening at this time? It is happening because February last year was when the foreign exchange madness started, and it had an impact on prices. February this year is when the foreign exchange sanity started, and we are beginning to see the effect. When you compare February last year with February this year, you can see the difference. Yeah,
but even though you say the foreign exchange sanity began this year, when are people going? February. When are people going to start feeling it? The economists are excited, but not everybody is as excited.
No, it takes time. The transmission time between when policies are made and when the impact is felt is about 60 to 90 days. But people are already feeling it already, because this currency was at 520 on the parallel market about 2-3 weeks ago. Now it's at 457, and that's 22%. You don't have that kind of appreciation without something fundamentally happening. So I think this is great news, and the people begin to feel the impact. This is an economy which is highly dependent on imports. It has a marginal propensity to import of about 0.63. And so when you get the exchange rate mechanism right, or start moving towards some form of sanity, the impact gets felt over time.
All right, just explain something to us. I mean, we have headline inflation slowing to 17.8%. That's down. But then food inflation increasing to 18.53%. So you know, people are thinking, why is that? Are we going to pay more? Are things cheaper?
See, food is seasonal. The planting season is in February. The harvest season is August and September. During the planting season, there is some scarcity. So what we've seen is that food inflation went up, but the non-food inflation, which is exchange rate sensitive, actually came down. And you would see that by March, you begin to see, we think that inflation will come down to about 16.5%. And so that's good news. Once you start seeing inflation go down, you now begin to see the flows of currency. But the critical thing here is that our foreign exchange inflows have come high, from as low as $700 million a month to about almost $2 billion a month. So we're lucky, and we are managing the things right. Right? So what do we expect to see? If you compare to other African countries, as you can see in the slides, you find that Nigeria inflation is down to 7.78, Angola is down to 40.39, Ghana is down to 13.3, only Kenya went up to 9.04, and South Africa is down to 6.6. All of these countries maintain the status quo in their monetary policy committees. So why is this happening? One of the major issues you have to think about is power. We have a power problem in Nigeria. If power is resolved, then productivity increases. When productivity increases, inflation is sustained. If you don't resolve the power situation, you have a problem. So the power sector is insolvent to all intents and purposes. There has to be intervention. We are losing daily a sum of 40.3 billion naira a day power losses, bringing to a total of almost 450 billion naira a year, which is almost equivalent to what we are budgeting. So we got to resolve the power problem, and it has both its financial and other physical issues. That has to be resolved to do that. And then we have to go back to what is the central bank going to do on Monday.
I was just going to ask you that, because are we going to sustain this? What do you think they're going to do?
Well, there are 12 members of the Monetary Policy Committee. From all indications, there are about 8 hawks and 4 doves. The hawks would like to be restrictive, the doves would like to be accommodative. Because inflation has come down, we think that the CBN is likely to adopt a wait-and-see approach. There's not much they can do, because is this a blip, or is this something that is going to be sustained? So what's the outlook? We think that the Naira will appreciate some more in March to about 440 from 457.
Yeah, is this the outlook you're giving us?
Yes, the
now?
outlook.
All right.
And then electricity sector is insolvent. The CBN must intervene. They must put money into that sector because to all intents and purposes, that sector is grounded. The daily loss is 1.3 billion naira and the annual loss is 474 billion. The price of diesel is down to 260. It may drop to 250. And inflation in March will slide to 16.5. So what we are seeing is that the fiscal side has done their job. The money side is getting its act together. The central bank seems to be on top of things, and they're moving in the right direction. They've applied the forwards to meet the backlog which they had, and now they're doing more of spots. What is needed now is an attempt to bring down the treasury bill rate, not the policy rate, but at least to bring the treasury bill rate so that the cost of borrowing of the government, one, the cost of borrowing of industry, two, and the cost of borrowing to actually invest in the economy is reduced. And the cost of intervention is also reduced.
All right, Mr. Bismarck-Pirani, thanks a lot for that analysis.
Happy days ahead. Okay.
Hopefully, we should keep our fingers crossed on that one. Thanks for joining us again on the News at 10 tonight.